Hello folks, a few people have asked me to demonstrate on how I put together the Lincoln Electric mower. The instructions are very vague, absolutely, but always read the safety instructions, most important. Firstly, they suggest to put on the power cord holder, so that's what we'll do first. So I don't have a brand new mower. I've been using this one for a few months. I'm more than satisfied with it. So I've just partly dismantled my own mower so I can put it back together the easiest form, and if it's a good guide for you, then that's excellent. So the first thing we'll do is the power cord holder. Firstly, you have two screws on this cover. Remove the screws and the cover. The whole assembly will come apart from this side. Assemble your rig, slide it up, leaving the breaker bar on, and then reassemble the unit, which only takes two screws to do. After you've assembled the top arm section, just check to make sure the spring unit hasn't come loose. If it has, take it off again and undo the screw for this breaker bar just here, and then you can reset the spring inside properly. Next, the lower control arm. I've left one on, and the order is quite simple. We have the eccentric cam with the bolt inside. If the bolt has come out, it's a square-headed bolt, quite simple, and it just locates it inside. Take note of the bend in the arm. It must bend inwards when it's assembled. So firstly, on with the bolt. Then we have the ratchet. So the ratchet castellations are facing on the inside here, so you can adjust the angle of your arms. So that goes on next. Then the spring. It's exactly the same both sides, and line it up, push it in so you've got a little bit of tension there, and then just simply screw it in. Get the ratchet up, like so, and try and line it up about the same as what you already have on the other side. It will make life a lot simpler doing the bottom half first, rather than in the instructions said do the top. It gets a little bit too weighty. After you've put it in firmly, just lock your cam so it doesn't rock around, and hopefully you've got it around about the same angle of each one. Okay, now once you've secured the bottom arms, next is the top. Firstly, you have a dome head bolt with a square edge underneath. Put those through first. Then the upper arm. Holding in place. Next we have a flat washer to go through onto the then your eccentric cam, which has the threaded end already there. Just tighten it up firmly, not tight. Just enough to hold in position, and do the same for the other side. With your washer, and again with your cam. With these eccentric cams, they're only just meant to hold and lock down. That's off position. Screw it down until you get a lot of firmness there, and that's all you need. Otherwise it'll be too tight, and it's just enough to lock it into position. Make sure the dome head bolts are seated properly. Okay, now the wheels. Very simple. With the wheels, firstly, the wheel of course, you can put some lubricant on that shaft if you want to. I usually use silicone spray. Then you lock your washer, then your split pin. Try not to spread your split pin too far, otherwise it'll make it difficult to get out again. It only needs to be spread slightly just to hold it on. With a small bend, nothing over there. And then your guide. Do exactly the same for the front wheel. Don't forget your cord holders. Clip them onto the arms to hold. I'll tip the mower up so you can see that you move your cord holder. It's a little bit firmish around to around about this position, so the cord can be held in. What I do is I use the extension lead and I put it on this side, so the socket's on this side so it doesn't pull out. Okay, next, the catcher. Quite simple. The top section is not assembled. You have two sides which act as the bottom as well. Easiest is put each lug together, 1, 2 at the time. Don't try and put the whole thing together at once. You'll frustrate yourself. Put a couple of lugs together at the time until you get around to the top, up the back here, and then you can easily put the red section on the top here, and that's your catcher. Okay, now we've got the catcher and the mower assembled. It's quite simple. Don't force any of the bolts and the threads. Take your time, don't rush it. A couple of suggestions with the mower. Because it's got a plastic body, it's a little bit flexible. So when you're mowing around a garden furniture or clothesline, a pole, be careful on the side here. It's not reinforced, so if you bump up against it, because the blade is so close to the side, the blade will cut into it if you bump too hard up against the pole. Be aware of that. It's a bit of a design fault in some aspect. It would be good if Lincoln had actually put a strap steel bar on the side here just to prevent that from happening. I'll put my own on there some other time. 2 to 3 mil strap, 30 mil wide, 2 to 3 mil thick. You can bend it around quite easily and just screw it on. Safety guard. Also, I think it's a good idea to use without the catcher, so if you can lift the chute door and hold it up with what we call an hockey strap or something of that nature, which is what I do, is hook it on one side and hook it up to the side here on there, because this is hollow here. You can just hook it on and it just shoots straight out the back and you can remulch. The height adjustment's great. I've used this mower on at least 500 square metre area, and it handled it quite well, and the grass was damp and about 3 inches deep. That's about 75 mil. It handled it quite well, and I believe it could have gone on and done another 500 square metres without a problem. The motor was not hot and wasn't labouring. The other thing, when you clean down, don't use water, use an air tool. I'm fortunate enough to have a workshop air compressor, and you blast it down. Use a stiff brush if you don't have, but you can buy air compressors now for under $100, and the air tool guns $10. Also, you could pump your tyres up with it and all that sort of thing. It's a good investment to have. Make sure you buy one AC powered with an air tank. When you clean it down, make sure you clean down around the shaft from the motor to the blade, because any moisture that gets in there will seize up the bearing, and that's the end of the motor. Once that bearing on the end of the motor with the shaft coming out, if that gets seized up, you might as well throw the mower away and buy another one. It'll cost too much to fix up. So keep that moisture out of the bottom of the motor, and you'll get a great life out of the mower. I hope this has been helpful for you. It's purely a guide. It's the way I did it. It's a little bit ambiguous on the instructions, but being a mechanical background, you use a little bit of logic, a little bit of lateral thinking, and you can get through it. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, please let me know.